bit. Each week at this time we do something called a community moment where someone from our crowd gets up and shares kind of a thought for the day. Sometimes it's the story of their journey to free thought, something, maybe an idea from a book they've read, a movie they've seen. We've done all kinds of stuff. If you'd like to do a community moment, please get with me. We'll get you on the schedule. We'd like to hear as many different diverse voices as possible. Today's community moment presenter is Verena Kallhoff, whose name I've apparently misspelled in all pre-event publicity, and I will never do that again. That's how you learn stuff. So it is spelled with two L's, so I apologize for that, but we're very glad, and she wasn't mad about that at all. She's very gracious. So many of you will remember Verena as the person who organized our great, wonderful fundraising event we had at Ventropolis not too long ago. So let's give a warm welcome to Verena Kallhoff.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for the introduction, Mike. I have seen my name spelled in all different ways without L's and H's and F's and yeah. In any event, so it wasn't unexpected. What I'm going to talk to you guys today about is something that's been very near and dear. Actually, can I use that little microphone?
Sure.
Does that work?
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Yeah, there we go. That's better. I'm a little bit of a walker, so, which will probably make Bart's life hell. But, so this is something that's been near and dear to me for a long time. It's letting go of what does not serve you. To give you a little bit of background on me, I am the youngest of three and only girl growing up in a fairly rural area of Germany. While I was growing up, education was not necessarily prized in my family, but there was a lot of emphasis on hard work and productivity and giving back to society. And my parents had a lot of very good values around honesty and respect and putting society before oneself. But there was also a few things that I look a little bit more critical upon today and that I think have been challenges for me in my life. That's traditional gender roles were still very much alive as I was growing up. And there was a huge emphasis on self-reliance. And that was, if you asked for help, you admitted defeat. If you accepted help that was being offered, you admitted defeat. So, I ended up finishing high school and moving to the United States, started studying here. And I did a lot of things that nobody in my family had ever done before, the whole going to university and moving on and beyond. That was certainly something that hadn't been done before. But throughout the time, I would lived 4,500 miles away from my family. I was self-reliant. There was nobody who was going to help me. Or so I thought anyway. And so I was sweating the small stuff, and that's really kind of putting it very mildly. I was prepared for everything. So if there's ever any disaster in your life, just come and talk to me. Chances are I have thought it through, devised a plan, and I'm ready to tackle it. And I was also taking responsibility for just about everything. And I would not let my friends help me, no matter what happened. Then a few years back, I've been doing yoga on and off for a while, and probably kept me semi-sane. And a few years ago, I started with a yoga teacher who started off the practice by saying, let go of what does not serve you. Wow, what a concept. Now, I'd heard, don't sweat the small stuff and all that before, but to actually sit there and intentionally practice to let go of things that weren't going to be useful for yoga practice was something new. And so I started incorporating it into my, into the rest of my life. If this was something that wasn't going to be affecting me, 3 days from now, 3 weeks from now, 3 months from now, then chances are I really didn't need to worry about it. And so, I got fairly good at that. Having made this an intentional practice, I stopped at least sweating the minuscule stuff. It was getting to the point where I didn't really worry about all eventualities. It became more of a, well, you know what, we can plan only so much, and whatever happens, we'll figure it out when we get there. And it was getting to, it's now to the point where I'm getting to my friends' houses late. Now, they typically think their clocks are off. Not that I'm late, but still, I don't feel guilty about it anymore either, which is a huge step for me, actually. And so I thought I was doing really, really good. I'm kind of becoming semi-normal, whatever that is. And I started working with a lot of very successful women. One of these women, in conversation with her, it became very apparent that she had no idea of traditional gender roles. That she, as a woman, or that there are people out there who think that women can't be as successful in leading an organization as men are. Then I listened to a talk by another woman who I admire greatly. She is an incredibly wonderful person, has made a huge impact on a great number of people, has built programs, and is just in general a great person. And she gave a talk and said she gets absolutely upset when people say, "You are an extraordinary woman." She said, all I have done is build the infrastructure that I need to do what I'm really good at. And so I started realizing that the mental constructs of traditional gender roles and self-reliance are still very much alive in me, and that I had a heck of a lot of work to do, and that I needed to start breaking down these fences and building ladders out of those fences. And I think as humans in general, we understand a lot about ourselves from what we hear from other people. Our family, the society we grew up with, people we interact with, they all put a set of norms around us that we acknowledge. Whether or not we always act upon them is probably a different story. But especially when we're, during the formative years, I want to say, there's a lot of mental constructs we build that we might not be all that aware of. And so I think it's very important for us to understand the constraints our mental constructs really put on us, and envision where we want to go, envision our possibilities beyond those constructs, to break it down, figure out what it is that we really want to do and what it is that we really can do, without paying too much emphasis on what constructs that other people have put into our minds. Or in the words of somebody posted this on Facebook right around the time as I was preparing the talk, is to become who you want to be, you first have to forget who they told you to be. But what's even more important, though, is to become aware of how we impose our own mental constructs on other people. Just last night, and I thought that was totally ironic, I got into a conversation again where I indicated I was working in a hospital environment, and the question that came back was, "Are you a nurse?" Now, not a big deal. I can't say that I wouldn't have asked the same question. But if I had had a Y chromosome instead of a second X, I highly doubt that would have been the question. The question might have been, what do you do for the organization? What is your role? Rather than, are you a nurse? Or it might have been, are you a doctor? So I believe that we frequently and unknowingly kind of impose our own mental constructs on other people. And that becoming aware of these, what we do, the language we choose, how it's impacted by what we believe of society, it's really important that we acknowledge the power that our words have over other people. What we do to build their own mental constructs. And so to try to avoid those constructs in conversation is really trying to avoid that these people later on have to let go of other things that might not serve them as well. So I know it's been a big struggle for me, and I just kind of wanted to share that with you all. So that's it. Let go of what does not serve you.